if you have any questions or concerns, please feel free to drop them in the Q&A box. I'm leaving the last 5 to 10 minutes of the webinar to answer all these questions. Most of your questions will be answered through this webinar. So I'll be only focusing on the questions that have not yet been answered and give them more attention. All right, that being said, just one more time to confirm that everyone's able to hear me clearly as well as see my shared screen so that we can start. You can use the emojis or reactions from the toolbar to confirm. All right, perfect. Thank you all. All right, so as everyone can see from my shared screen, basically this is the homepage of Rayyan. Now, assuming you have already created a Rayyan account, you have already started some reviews, created some reviews, or you have been invited to collaborate on reviews, this is what you will see in the homepage. So you will have the active reviews section, as well as the archived reviews section, in which archived reviews, of course, always indicate any review that you are participating in but is archived, meaning it's not active and live like these, the ones under active. There are a couple of limitations you need to know regarding active reviews. So with the free and essential plans, the free plan and essential from the paid plans, you are only allowed to have up to 3 active reviews at once. The limitation is not on the amount of reviews you can create, rather, it's on the amount of reviews you can have active. So you can create as many reviews as you can, as long as you have only 3 active reviews owned by you. Now, if you want more active reviews, access to more active reviews, then you are prompted to upgrade to the advanced plan or one of our institutional plans. With the advanced plan, you will have access to up to 9 active reviews at once. In case you have, let's say, you are part of the 3 active review limitation, which is available on free and the essential plans again, what you can do is click on show more, and then you can either locate the review you do not want anymore to have it active. You can easily from these settings archive or delete that review to open up a space for another review to be active. Of course, we prompt you or recommend you that you archive reviews so that all your data will be remained intact. They will be available on our cloud. You can restore archived reviews at any time, of course. Nothing will be lost during the archival process. However, if you delete that review, it will result in deleting all of the review's content as well as any customization permanently. So just be cautious while freeing up space for another active reviews. Of course, you can restore the review at any time if you have the right permissions. So if you have the availability for another review to be active, you can restore the owned active review at any time by clicking on the restore button. All right, that being said, let's create a review. All we need to do is add the details for that review to distinguish it from other reviews, of course. So in this case, I'm going to say my systematic review, demo session 3. The review type, I'm going to say either, of course, in my case, I'm going to conduct a systematic review. But of course, you can choose any of the types available. Choosing the type will not grant you access to certain features or functionalities. It will only work as an identifier or reminder for you and for teammates on what type of review and what domain of review you're conducting. You can choose other if you couldn't find the type and specify it in the description part. Similarly, you can do with the domain. So I'm going to go with biomedical. You can choose any of the other review domains as well. You can add any further information to the description part. Once you're done, when you click create review, you will notice in the background the review has been created. So if you have not yet prepared yourself, prepared your data for that review, you haven't yet prepared who will be working on this review with you, then you can skip these parts. And once you obtain these articles, once you know who you would like to invite, you can access that review and then move forward with uploading and inviting members at any time. If you are ready, you can follow these steps in order to make your review ready for the screening part. So in this part, I will need to obtain my references from external databases such as PubMed, Web of Science, Google Scholar, etc. Rayyan is not connected to open sources, so you cannot basically enter your search query in Rayyan in order to obtain references from external databases. Rather, you need to obtain them from external databases, save them on your local desktop with one of these supported formats. Now, once these files are saved on your local desktop in one of these supported formats, you can just simply click on Select Files to select these files from your local desktop in order to upload them. You're allowed to upload up to 10 files at once with the maximum file size of 100 megabytes, which gives you basically a total of 1 gigabyte of references that you can import into your review. So let me just upload a couple of files I have to show you how uploading will work. So I have these two files in CSV format, which are reference files, and I have a full text PDF file that I want to upload. However, once I upload it, it should pull out and extract the metadata of the reference without the need for the reference itself. So let's upload these files. We will notice if there is any issue with the files, if they were not in a supported format, it will be indicated right here. Once you're done, just click continue. Now I need to invite my members. In Rayyan, all you need to do is have an email address of a member who registered the Rayyan account. If they don't have a registered Rayyan account, once you send the invitation, they will be able to access the review after they set up and confirm their account. So let's say I'm going to invite this email address. And then what I need to do is specify the role I would like to provide for this member, which basically defines the limitation and permission for that member and what will they be able to access. So for example, with Rayyan, you have the ability to invite members for free, either as reviewers or viewers. The viewer role basically provides that member ability to actually access that review you invited them to, but only as an observer. They will not be able to take any action. If you invite them as reviewers, then you're granting them access to screening and full text screening stages only, where your reviewer will be able to assist in terms of screening, taking decisions, assigning labels, reasons, or notes in order to back up their decision or to clarify it. Additionally, they will be able to work with up more than 10 facets in the filters workbench to filter out articles in order to have a faster way to screen the articles or to search for specific article that meets the filter criteria. Now, if you need to invite a member to provide them with more permissions, you can invite them as collaborator. Now, as a collaborator, you will be having access to this review. Similarly, same to the access of reviewer. So you can perform all the reviewer's abilities. However, on top of it, you will have access to manage the data as well, in which you can assist in uploading or importing references, exporting results, assist in data extraction and export the results, assist in deduplication in order to prepare your data for screening. So the only difference between the owner and the collaborator will be that the owner will be the only one who can toggle blinding on or off, invite members, or even delete the review. Other than that, the collaborator will have that access. Now, in order to understand how the collaborative access work and how the process should be done, you first need to purchase a subscription for yourself with 2 seats. 1 seat for you, the other seat can be assigned for your collaborator. So if we navigate to the pricing page, as you can see in my share screen right now, these are the individual plans, free, advanced, and essential, and there's the institutional plans. Now for individual plans, you can see there's a seat model. So you can purchase a subscription, either essential or advanced, depending, of course, on what you need to be included, on what type of access you need to which features. Then you can specify the seats you would like to purchase. So if you're purchasing 1 seat, it will automatically be assigned to you, and you will have access to these premium features, part of the advanced plan, for example, on your own reviews only. You cannot have the access of premium features on other reviews that are owned by other members. Unless you purchase, for example, 2 seats, you invite the member as collaborator. That member who is now occupying that seat will be able to access as well the premium features included in the advanced plan on the subscription owner's reviews. So I will not, as a collaborator invited to this review, I will not be able to access premium features. I will be able to access premium features on this review, but I will not be able to access premium features on my own personal reviews. All right, that being said, let's invite this member as collaborator in order for us to see in depth how Rayyan works. So you can see as soon as I invited the member, as soon as I completed the prompt for creating a review, I was directed to the overview page of the recently created review. The overview page gives you all the information needed in this review. So you have the review info section, which can be edited at any time. You can invite more members at any time. With the right plan, you will have access to Prisma feature in order to create and generate a Prisma flowchart diagram. It's not available for free, but it's available with all paid plans. This is where you can delete or archive the review from within the review itself. Here where you can control blinding and view or define the screening criteria. Blinding is really important in Rayyan as any review by default will be blinded on. When blinding on, it means that you're screening independently, not knowing the other members' decisions who are participating in this review. So basically, it eliminates the risk of bias. Users will not be influenced by each other's decisions. So for example, as long as blinding is on, I will not be able to see the work done by this member. I need to turn off the blinding in order to see it. Blinding can affect exporting, adding articles from stage to stage. So just keep in mind that this will be explained in depth when we are in the screening stage. Moving forward, you will find the data summary section. Any articles imported will be, the number will be listed right here. You can at any time add more references, either from your device or from your built-in cloud within Rayyan that basically hosts your library. It hosts all files that you have. All right, you can then detect duplicates, resolve the duplicates that were detected, and see the resolution summary. I will leave it to the review data stage to show you exactly how you can work stage by stage with the workflow that will be most convenient when using Rayyan. You can track down review members. You can switch the role per team member, which allows you to reassign seats. So for example, I no longer need this member as a collaborator. So I need to switch their role to reviewer, which will open up the seat again for another member to be assigned a collaborator. So now I can invite another member and assign them the collaborator role. Alternatively, I can just simply revoke or delete that member's access. Lastly, this is where your screening summary is found. This is the dedicated section for it. You will find also the dedicated section for screening criteria, in which it should be defined to make sure that every member who are participating in this review is following the same workflow, the same criteria needed in order to include or exclude articles. So as a simple criteria, let's say controlled trials. You can add as many criteria, of course, as needed. You can edit or delete that criteria. Similarly, define the exclusion. Let's say randomized trials, and let's go with any article that has been published beyond the year 2000. Then you can, of course, track down your progress, team progress, as well as the screening summary, which reflects the conflicts. Right, that being said, let's now navigate to review data. You can see all the reference files we uploaded were available under imported references within review data, in which I can filter by each file to see the articles related to each file. As you can see, this one indicates that 560 articles were available in this file. I'm filtering by them, so I'm only seeing 560 out of 641. You can filter by the other file. And this is the PDF file we uploaded, which, as you can see, if I double click on it, it has extracted this metadata from the PDF itself. Additionally, it attached the full text PDF file that we have imported. So now I have the full text available in Rayyan for full text screening purposes, as well for data extraction purposes. And this is the easiest way to upload your articles from your PDF files. Right, before we start duplicate detection, let's see the left-hand side menu, which brings us to my library. Now, as you can see, the files I have just imported to my review are automatically added to my library, which basically, as I said, it's your cloud that hosts all your files that were uploaded within your reviews in Rayyan, or you can just simply add more files at any time. You can as well create folders to organize your library. So I can say this is the new systematic review I'm conducting. So I'm going to say my systematic review, demo session 3, similar to the title I have added to that review. Now the folder is created. I can simply select the files that I have just added to this folder, and I'm going to click Move To, or simply right click, and then you'll find more information, options. So move to this file, and then confirm the move. Now the files will be added to this folder for a better way to organize your files. At any time, you can import your files to your review. So for example, let's say I uploaded my files directly to my library. I can select the ones needed, and then I can click Import to Review, select the target review that you have access to as a collaborator or as an owner, which gives you the access to import articles. Or simply, if you have enough space, you can create a new review to add these articles to. Lastly, you can, of course, at any time download, get more info about each file, rename each file, or delete the files. Any file that has been imported to your review by a colleague of yours will not be appearing in your library, as the file will only be available in the library of the owner of that file. So if I uploaded the file, I'll find it in my library. If my colleague uploaded that file to my review, I will not be able to see it on my library. Rather, my colleague will be able to see it in his own library, for example. All right. Now I showed you in review data stage, which is by default, will show you only the title of each article. You can just simply double click on it to see all the information regarding each article. You can use the arrow keys to move forward, backwards. And while you are reviewing the articles, you can simply take labels and notes for a better way to organize and tag your articles. So let's say this one contains statistics. Just for example, I'm adding a label as statistics. I can add a note to further clarify it. You can now see that the label was added, the note was added, and I can at any time edit the note or delete it, which allows me up to 1,000 characters per note. So I can, if I have a lot of information I want to add, I can split it into multiple notes, keeping in mind 1,000 characters is the limit per note. Now the label I have assigned will automatically be added to the list of labels for future use. So as you can see, the label is added to my list, so I can use it at any time on different articles. And another important info that it gives me the ability to filter by label. So you can see this is the filters workbench. I accessed it. I have more than 15 facets available for me to filter by. You can, of course, enable the facet you need. However, in my case, I'm gonna see the labels facet. So this facet shows me all labels that I have assigned, and it will show me each label in how many articles it was assigned to, in which I can at any time filter by that label. So you can see now I'm showing only the articles that were assigned that label. Let's say I added another, the same label for this article. Notice how it will automatically recalculate that it shows 3 articles assigned that label. Notes cannot be filtered in the same way as labels. Now, as a workaround, you can just simply add a label and call it note. And this way you can, anytime you see the label note, you will identify that this article has a note, an actual note applied to it. Of course, to remove a label, you can just simply untag it and unassign it from all articles that it was assigned to it. So you can see, let's say I'm adding note for this one again, but I don't want note label anymore. So I can select this article, access labels, deselect note, and then apply. This way, note has been removed as a label, and I will not find it anymore in my list of labels for filtering or for adding it. And just one final thing before we start deduplication, you can just simply from these settings, change the article layout to title and abstract view. This way, you'll be seeing the title listed on the left. Depending on the article you're selecting, you will see its information on the right. Right, let's go back to title only view. Now, I need to detect duplicates, in which the system will read the metadata of all of the articles available. It will analyze them, and then it will provide you within a matter of seconds, but it will, of course, rely on how large your data set is. As you saw, in a matter of seconds, the system was able to find 159 possible duplicates that needs resolution. So it found them and it added them to the possible duplicates facet under unresolved. So I can filter by unresolved to see the duplicates that the system was able to flag. You will also notice a similarity percentage indicating that this article has another 100% copy duplicate article. So in this case, I need to remove all the duplicate copies, maintaining only one unique copy so that it's easier for me to screen. I don't want duplicate articles in screening, so I want only screen unique references or articles. To resolve the duplicates, there are multiple ways, or two methods, let's say. There's the manual way, which basically works on selecting one of the duplicate articles and click on Resolve Duplicates. It will show you, the system will show you basically the duplicates in pairs. So now we're seeing that this group contains two articles sharing the same exact metadata, 1 and 2. If I choose another option, it will show different numbers. So this case has 22 articles sharing similar metadata. So I need to compare them by pair. 1 and 2 is the first comparison. I will not be able to see the cluster of all 22 articles and select one of them or two or three of them to keep the rest to remove. So in Rayyan, it will allow you to go through them by pairs so that it will ensure an accurate resolution of duplicates, prone to error, of course. And there's the semi-automated way, which is available with all paid plans. You can set some rules, and based on these rules, it will resolve the duplicates if they were exact matches. I will show you exactly how to use it. But for now, let's see how we can resolve the duplicates available on hand. I'm going to add a label for this one just to show you an example, which is really important. So first, I need to click Resolve Duplicates and select, of course, one of the articles that I would like to start resolving, like this one, Resolve. And I'm seeing now the article's metadata compared side by side. So now I can see that this one has customizations, which mean, as you can see, a label and a PDF file were added to this one. So I want to keep this one and remove the duplicate version that does not contain any customization. This is where I can actually find this information that indicates this one has a customization. So I want to prioritize this for keeping. And since they are duplicates, I'm going to delete the one on the right, which means I'm going to need to click on keep the one on the left. One on the right will be deleted. And then the system will jump to compare with the next group. Let's see. One copy was deleted. The other copy was marked as a resolved duplicate. And this one will always be available in our data and screening. This one is no longer available in our data. So now we're down to 641 articles, which means that the system will calculate the total number of references imported, 642, minus deleted duplicates, which is 1, will result in the total number of unique references left for screening. Right, now let's go back to unresolved. I'm going to choose another simple example. Let's go with this one and resolve the duplicates. Now, keep in mind that duplicates that contain more metadata, like in this case, it contains abstract topics, all the metadata that we need, all fields are available. So it's going to be easier for us to use the auto-resolver. But as long as some of the metadata, like sometimes you can find authors are missing, DOI is missing, abstract is missing, which can make it harder for auto-resolver to resolve them. And it eventually requires you for going back to the manual deduplication. All right, we can see also differences are highlighted in the text. which indicates that this one is from Web of Science file, this one's from PubMed. So I'm going to keep the one on the left. System will delete the one on the right. And then I jump to compare the next set, which is 1 and 3. Similarly, there are duplicates. I'm keeping the one on the left. The one on the right will be deleted, meaning I deleted 2 copies of the same duplicate, maintaining only one of them as a resolved unique duplicate. All right. So now when you have a more complicated example like this one, it contains 22 articles. In order to move to the next group, you need to resolve all 22 articles. And to resolve them, like in this case, they share similar metadata like the title, but the rest is different. You can see these are not duplicates, so I need to keep both of them, which can easily be identified from the DOI. So I need to keep both. Now the system considered 1 and 2 as not duplicates. It is jumping to compare now 1 with 3. So it's the next set of duplicates. Now again, these are not duplicates. It's harder to identify them without the DOI, but in this case, I need to check all the other fields. So in fact, this is not a duplicate. I'm keeping both as well. So now 1 and 3 are compared. 1 and 3 are not duplicates. The system will jump to compare 2 with 3 next. So again, these are not duplicates. Let's keep both. Now we went to jump and compare with 4. So in order to resolve 4, we need to compare it with 1, 2, and 3. Notice in this example, which we will need it in AutoResolver to understand how the system works. These have the exact same title, but the format is different. This one has only the first word as capitalized letter. This one has all words with capital letter. So this can affect how AutoResolver works. All right, so these are not duplicates, although they are sharing the same exact title. Let's confirm if they have the DOI. Right, so based on the rest of the metadata, I can see these are not duplicates. I'm keeping both. Now we're going to compare 2 with 4. Again, these are not duplicates. I'm keeping both. 3 with 4, not duplicates. I'm keeping both. So I need to do this for all 22. And I'm going to move a bit faster since now we're comparing only with 6 out of 22. So we need a faster way. That will stop when I find a duplicate to show you what you can do. So far, these are not duplicates, so I'm going to keep all of them. Let's see with 9, if 9 has a duplicate article. Nothing. 10. 11. You can see how easy it is when you have the differences highlighted, so I can move a bit faster. And when I don't see any highlights, it means these are duplicates, obviously. So let's see. 14 now. You can see as long as I'm keeping both articles, not duplicates, it will always add it to the list of not duplicates until we actually find a duplicate and resolve it. It should remove one and keep one. So far, there are no duplicate articles with what I'm seeing. Let's see with article number 16. 17. All right. Notice now, 5 and 17 are duplicates. So I need to keep only one of them. In this case, I'm going to keep, let's say, the one on the left, which is 5. So 5 will remain. 17 will be deleted, and then we will jump to compare with 18. However, if I kept 17 and deleted 5, 17 will take 5's place in not duplicates, so it can be compared with the rest. So let's see with 17. Now notice we are jumping to compare 1 with 18. 5 is no longer available in our not duplicates. 17 was added to not duplicates. So let's continue. Now with 18, we can see again, 18 and 6 are duplicates. So I'm going to keep, let's say now 6, which will result in deleting 18. And then we will jump to compare with 9. 7 and 19, sorry. 7 and 19 are duplicates. I'm keeping 1. 19 is deleted now. And 7 is kept. Let's move forward. All right, 17 and 20 as well are duplicates. Let's keep 17. Now with 21, 22, and 22 with 7 are duplicates. Then we are done with all 22. And with the system, we'll jump to the next pair, which as you can see have 4 articles grouped. So what happened is we deleted all the copies of the same duplicate, maintaining only one of them as resolved. And then the rest were considered and marked as not duplicate, which are always available in our metadata. Only deleted is no longer available. Now, lastly, you can use AutoResolver to expedite the process. Based on rules you can set that match the exact criteria, it will resolve. So I can choose the best duplicate version to keep from the files imported. If I kept, for example, if I want the ones from PubMed, I can select PubMed. Any duplicate article found in Web of Science matching the one from PubMed will be deleted, PubMed will be maintained, and vice versa if I choose any of the other files. I can keep it blank to make it randomly select which one to keep. Most importantly is the resolution criteria and the percentage. So I can combine the criteria with percentage. Most recommendedly with Rayyan to choose 95% or higher so that you don't end up resolving false positives. And of course, the more criteria you set, the more complicated it is, the more accurate the resolution will be. As you saw, if I choose, for example, by title only, some of the titles share the same exact title, but different metadata, so I might lose some of these articles, which are not duplicates. Additionally, I showed you how some titles have different supported different formats, which one contain capitalized letters, the other does not. So in this case, always make sure to enable text normalization, which converts all uppercase letters to lowercase letters, ignoring punctuations, which means it is unifying the format. Thus, if they are um, exact matches, it will be resolved. So let's see, based on this criteria, to resolve the duplicates. And one last thing about these settings, you can see article customization protection. It's enabled by default. Make sure it's always enabled, which in fact, it protects any article you have customized from deletion. It will delete the copy that have not been customized as I showed you in the manual way. So let's resolve based on this criteria, title, authors, and year with 95% similarity rate or higher. That's why I ensure that any article receiving less than 95% similarity rate will not be part of the resolution. So it will be excluded automatically. And then the system will compare the rest of the criteria with the articles that share 95% similarity rate or higher. Now, in my case, the system was able to resolve 98 duplicates. We are left with 36. I can see the resolution, how it's done. So you can see 35 were actually resolved. The deleted ones is 72, meaning most of the copies were deleted, only maintaining one unique copy of each of these duplicates. And we're left with 36 unresolved. So in this case, I can go back again and resolve the duplicates with different criteria. So I'm going to go with DOI. Let's see. So we have 36 left. Now we have 22, which means 14 were actually resolved, matching this criteria. But the system is indicating 48 were actually resolved. Now, in this case, when you see the total number was resolved and the notification does not match the actual number, as like in this case where we had 36, now we have 22, which means 14 were resolved. This means that in the previous computation, in the previous resolution we've done, out of the 48, 14 were new duplicates that were not resolved, so it resolved them. The rest matched the previous criteria, which were already resolved, so the system will indicate it matches that criteria, but only 14 were resolved since the rest were actually resolved previously. Right now, I'm left with 22. I need to use the auto-resolver multiple times, different criteria, until I'm reaching a point where I need to manually go through the rest of the duplicates since it's really hard for the auto-resolver to complete the resolution. Like let's see in this case, this one does not contain authors DOI, so it's gonna be hard, no abstract. You can see this lacks a lot of the metadata, which might affect how auto-resolver works. So this is why you might find yourself not being able to complete the resolution of all duplicates using auto-resolver. Now we're left with 558 unique references for screening after deleting 84 duplicates. So let's say we completed the resolution of the rest of the 22, and we are left with this number for screening. Now, in screening, of course, you need to take decisions based on reviewing the articles. You can expedite the process instead of just reviewing article and include, exclude, and maybe even you can check the criteria. You can add keywords from your criteria to the list of keywords for include and exclude, which basically assist in highlighting and filtering. These are the most common used keywords in research, as you can see. And basically, the system will show you how many articles each keyword was found in. So compared with was found in 41, trial was found in 20, randomized was found in 16, and then you can filter by it to take a bulk action. So I can select multiple articles and include, depend on my screening criteria. So these should be excluded, let's say, based on my screening criteria. And I want to add a reason for the exclusion. So instead of adding a label, we can add a reason in the same manner, and it will be documented in Prisma. So in this case, I'm going to say the reason is randomized trials. Just for example, this is a predefined list of reasons that basically gives you an idea what type of reasons you might use. We recommend not using a long reason, just use a couple of words. You can justify your reasoning with adding a note. So just keep it simple. Let's say I'm gonna go with randomized trial. Create that reason. Now it's added to this article. Let's add it to the next one. We can find the reason, always add it to the list of reasons for future use. And it's important to know that there's no need for you to exclude the article first and then add the reason. So you can add the reason, which will result in automatically excluding the article. Additionally, you can expedite the process by using keyboard shortcut keys. So this is the predefined list of shortcut keys. It's available with all plans, but customizing them and availability to hotkey feature is only exclusive to paid plans. So as default shortcut keys, you can click I to include, E to exclude, and for maybe. R allows you to type down a reason, L to type down a note, and of course, N for notes. Most importantly, if you own a subscription, you can define a hotkey for reasons you are frequently using or labels you are frequently using. So let's say 5 for randomized, 6 for this specific label statistics. Whenever I click 6, it will automatically add the label. 5 will automatically exclude the article assigning that reason. You can see these keywords, which I'm filtering by, are always highlighted in the text, whether they are keywords for include, which is reflected in green, keywords for exclude, which will be reflected in red. You can turn off the highlighting per facet. You can see I'm turning off the highlights for keywords for exclude, or simply for all facets at once. There's a lot of filters that you can as well use. So based on my criteria, I'm going to go with any article prior 2000 to be excluded. So I'm going to scroll down, or I can simply use the search filter, let's say year, enable that filter, which will basically pull out the published dates. And let's see if we have more, right? So I'm going to choose anything prior 2000, which means 99 until 93. Now notice nothing is found since I'm filtering as well by randomized, and it will always trigger an AND operator whenever you are filtering from different facets. So I'm filtering from keywords for include, keywords for exclude, and I'm filtering from year. Now, all these will always trigger an OR operator since I'm filtering from the same facet. But then you can see this is a keyword for exclude, this is a keyword for include. So from different facets, this is why it's showing AND. I'm going to remove these. I have 17 articles matching the filter of years prior 2000. So I need to exclude all of them. With the premium membership, you can simply just select the checkbox next to filter by inclusion. It will select all articles, and then you can take the decision. Or simply select the checkbox next to each article with the free version, or Shift and the arrow keys with the keyboard shortcut keys to select all the articles. And then you can add the reason, let's say a new reason, I'm going to say wrong year, create it, apply it, and confirm. Let's clear the filters and let's move forward with other filters that I can use as well. With the advanced plan, which is this feature is exclusive to the advanced plan, which is PICO. PICO is primarily used by biomedical researchers, which it reflects population intervention comparison outcome elements. So if you are a biomedical researcher, you're probably going to need to find the target group, let's say children, infants, adults. So you can find them all under population. If you are facing, let's say, hearing outcomes, so you can find them under outcome. If hearing was an intervention, it will find them and add them under intervention. This is an AI LLM model that it basically extracts and analyzes the metadata of references, extracting elements for each of the PICO filters. So let's process it. There's a dedicated filter for each of these facets. It's important to know that intervention and comparison, since they are a lot similar in terms, they are combined under one facet, which is the intervention facet. Right, PICO filters have been populated, they were extracted. So now I can see them and filter by each of the extracted keywords. You can see that population will always be represented in the text and highlighted in purple. Indigo will be representing intervention, and outcome will be represented by orange. You can hover over them to see the percentage that indicates how much is it a population element, how much is it an outcome, and of course, an intervention. Of course, it works similarly as keyword sprinkle or exclude in terms of highlighting and filtering, but in terms of populating these keywords, it works on extraction. So AI will be extracting these keywords. In terms of keyword sprinkle or exclude, it works on addition. There's a predefined list that you can add more keywords to, or simply select all and remove to start fresh and add your own custom keywords. So let's say as a keyword, I'm going to say cause and add it. Notice the system calculated it was found in 239 articles, which is now highlighted in green. Now, let's say you are in collaborative review. In collaborative reviews, before starting the screening, in which I showed you how you can basically efficiently screen articles, you can create samples. The samples feature is available on all plans. However, there are some limitations available for free and essential users. With the free and essential plan, you are only allowed to create one sample per review. So this is the maximum samples you can create for this review, which is one. If I'm using a advanced plan, I will be able to create unlimited amount of samples. Samples can help me in distributing workload among team members, creating a group of articles for each member to screen. And of course, I can create subsamples to test out. For example, I want AI to help me in terms of accelerating the screen progress. So I can create a sample, a set of testing sample in order to use the ratings feature to train the AI for providing me ratings on undecided articles. Alternatively, I can split the articles on my team members. So let's go with this first. I'm going to assume we are a team of 3 people. So I'm going to create 3 grouped samples, sample 1, sample 2, and sample 3. So let's say sample 1, sample 2, and sample 3. Now the setting, I'm going to keep it randomized so that articles are randomly allocated to the samples. And I'm going to choose the data source as all references, but of course you can go with filtered. And in this case, filtered reflects the undecided articles. All right, so since I'm using all references, which is 558, so whenever I assign a percentage, it will auto-calculate the approximate number of articles based on the data source I'm filtering by. So 20% of 558 equals 112 articles. I can go with 100 article, let's say. It will auto-calculate the approximate percentage. Now, since we are a team of 3, I'm going to go with 33% for each, which equals 184 articles to be assigned. leaving me with 1% of the articles not assigned, which equals 6 articles. So I can adjust the numbers. And notice if I add one more extra article, if we combine them, they will equal 559, which cannot basically allow me to create the samples unless I'm only using 100% of the articles I'm selecting. Create. Now the samples will be added to the filters workbench. I can scroll down. It will be under Pico, and I can filter by my sample. Now, since Rayyan does not offer a way to assign samples automatically or manually, you can use the review chat to communicate this information with your colleagues. That, for example, I'm reviewer one. I'm going to screen sample one. So I'm the owner of this review. I'm going to consider myself reviewer one. And I'm going to screen sample one. Reviewer two, on the other hand, will screen sample two. And reviewer three will screen sample three. Now, in order for me to efficiently have each member to screen their assigned sample, I need to ensure I'm communicating this information with my members. That each time I access screening, in order to only screen articles part of my sample, I need to filter by my sample. So if I navigate back to review data, if I refresh the page, whatever I do, as long as I'm moving away from screening, I will lose that filter. So I need to just ensure I'm filtering back again with it to make sure 100% I'm only screening the articles part of my sample, not articles available for all other members. Now, in this case, of course, each member will be screening their own sample. I can achieve another objective with the samples. In most cases, you will need or you must have a different decision on the article from different members. So let's say each article should be screened twice by two different members. I don't want 3 decisions. I don't want 1 decision per article. I want 2. Now, in my case, we are a team of 3. Each member screened their own sample. So reviewer 1 screen sample 1 is done. Reviewer 2 screen sample 2 and he's done. Reviewer 3 screen sample 3 and he's done. I can say again that I, as the reviewer 1, I'm going to screen now sample 1, sample 2, since I finished sample 1. Reviewer 2 do the same. Since you're done with sample 2, screen sample 3, and reviewer 3, since you're done with sample 3, screen sample 1. This way I'm ensuring that each article have been screened twice by 2 different members, not more, not less, eliminating the risk of bias while keeping binding on so that each member will not be influenced by the decision of the other. They cannot see the decision of the other member. Right? Of course, if let's say you were a larger team, let's say 6 members, so you can assign a pair of reviewers for each sample. Like if were a team of 6, I can say reviewer 1 and 2 screen sample 1, reviewer 3 and 4 screen sample 2, and reviewer 5 and 6 screen sample 3. So it's all based on your own preferences. Now, lastly, let's say I'm gonna train the AI on my screening decisions to provide me with a faster way to deal with the undecided articles. Let's say I have a large number of references I need to screen. And since I have a lack of time to do it, I need to train an AI to provide me with rating on undecided articles. It's not going to screen your articles and give you a decision. It will just give you a rating, a relevancy score, that this article should be included based on the pattern you have went with, including and excluding articles. So in order for the ratings feature, which is run by AI, it's a machine learning. In order for it to be operating, you need to fulfill 2 requirements. So these requirements are needed in order to train the AI on your patterns you take to include or exclude articles. So first, maybe will not be part of the computation. It will only include exclude and include. Since maybe is a tentative decision, conflicts are tentative decisions, so they will not be part of the ratings. Now, I need to take 5 at least excluded with 5 at least included first. So I have fulfilled 5 at least excluded. I need to take 3 more 5 at least included. And combined, I should take at least 50 decisions from include or exclude or more. The more I take, the more accurate my ratings will be. Right? So I'm going to take a couple of more include decisions. So I have now fulfilled the first requirement, 5 at least from both. Combined 29, so I need to take 21 more decisions. Let's do it. I'm going to do it purely randomly. So my results will not be accurate, but let's see how it goes. So we have now 59 decisions. Let's run the ratings feature. In collaborative reviews, ratings feature will take into consideration other members' decisions, even when blending is on, as long as they are screening either the same articles or different articles. The minimum is 50 required. All right, so the system has done. From the first glimpse, I can see there's a lot of no recommendations, which means that the system was not able to identify or distinguish that this article should be included or excluded. So it needs more information, which basically means you need to take more decisions. Run the ratings feature again to adjust and update these no recommendations. You can run it multiple times, but you need to wait 10 minutes between each time you run it, which gives you a sufficient time to screen more articles. Let's sort by rating. Nothing is indicating I should include. Let's see, exclude. Right, so I can see a lot of articles that should be excluded, represented in 2 thumbs down, which is most likely to exclude. If I see articles with 1 thumb down, it means likely to exclude, which is less than most likely. So let's consider it a relevancy score out of 5, 5 being most likely to include, 1 being most likely to exclude. So if an article received a rating below 1.4, let's say, it will be flagged as most likely to exclude. If it receives a rating between 1.5 and 2.4, then it means likely to exclude. Anywhere between 2.5 and 3.5 will be flagged as no recommendation. From 3.6 until 4.4, let's say, it will be flagged as likely to include. Anything higher will be most likely to include, which is represented in 2 thumbs up and 1 thumb up for likely to include. All right, so I have my ratings. Now I can review some of these to confirm whether the system was accurate in its prediction, and then take the decisions I need. I took these decisions. I can run the ratings feature, of course, after waiting the time, which will update the ratings on undecided articles to have a better relevancy score, let's say, a more accurate rating. Premium users, since this one is available, this specific feature is available with all plans, even for free. However, premium users, we provide you with the ability to filter by rating. Or not premium users, it's only found under in the advanced plan. With the essential plan, you will not find it, which means this is part of the advanced compute ratings AI, which is coming soon. So you can enable the filter for ratings when you have an advanced plan. And there you can see all the articles and filter by them that were assigned most likely to exclude and no recommendations, depending on, of course, each of the ratings. Let's say you are done with the screening part. In collaborative reviews, before moving to full text, you need to turn off blinding. Now, once blinding is turned off, you will find a conflict list will arise under filter by inclusion. So you can filter by conflicts to see the conflicting decisions by members. Since no one worked with me on this article, on this review, I have no conflicts. Let's navigate to a different review. And let's turn blinding on first. All right, so now blinding is on. I can see my own independent results. So I still have 141 undecided articles, but I've taken 246 excluded, 2 maybes, 293 included out of 682. When I'm exporting in this case, I'm exporting only my results. I will not be able to see the decisions and results from other members, even if they have screened the same article. So blinding be taken into consideration when exporting, when copying, and when moving from stage to stage. All right, so let's turn off blinding. Let's just take one more closer look on my results. Now let's turn off blinding. We will see the undecided, for example, is now down to 4, which means that most of my other collaborators have screened those articles. It means 4 of these articles are still undecided. No decision, no reviewer have screened them. We have 278 conflicting decisions. So we will need to go through each of these decisions. In just a moment. All right, so now we have this amount of conflicting decisions. In order to resolve the conflicts, you need to basically reach out to each team member who has that conflicting decision with you and agree whether you should include or exclude. So it's a teamwork to resolve conflicts, meaning that you cannot assign one person to override the decisions from others and resolve the conflict. This cannot happen in Rayyan for data integrity and security. You cannot manipulate the decision of other members. Since this is the case, then each member needs to change their decision according to a consensus that must be reached for each conflict to be resolved. For example, let's say we have decided that this article should be included, me and my colleague. My colleague already included that article, I have excluded it. In order to resolve that conflict, let me just copy its reference ID. I need to change my decision to include. Now, I had 17 conflicts. If I go and navigate to included, search for that specific article, I will now find it under included. Apologies, I didn't copy the text, but let's go back to conflict. We will see that conflict is down to 16. So the article itself has been resolved and the decision on it has changed to included. So it will be added to the included list. So let's say I want to change my decision on this article to exclude. Let's just make sure we have copied its reference ID, right? So you can see it's no longer available under conflicts, which is reflecting 15 now. Of course, I can refresh the page to update the number. Now it's reflecting correctly. It should be reflecting correctly 15. If I search for that specific article, I will not be able to find it under conflicts. But if I go to filter by excluded, I will see it under excluded. Now, once you are done with resolving the conflict, leave in collaborative reviews, of course, leave blinding off in order to add the right articles to full text training. I'm going to add my included, but you can add included, maybe, or labeled. And of course, with labeled, you need to select which label each of the articles should be added by. Now, since this is a separate stage, articles will be copied to this stage, lacking the decision you took in screening, allowing you to distinguish between decisions taken from full text, decisions taken from screening. All right. So now, in order for me to screen the articles in full text, I need to obtain their full text PDF file. So if I have it already on my desktop, I can upload it directly. As you can see, I'm uploading this PDF file. I can attach it directly and import. I can also double click on the article if I uploaded mistakenly a wrong file and delete that full text PDF file. If I have my files uploaded to my library, I can select the articles I need, let's say these. And then with a paid plan, you will be able to access auto retrieve, which will allow the system to find any relevant full text PDF file, match it with its corresponding article if it was able to find the files. So you can see 3 out of the 6 have already a PDF file matching them in my library. So it will automatically be attached, as you saw. 3 are flagging there was no matching file in my library. So I need to upload them one by one manually. Now, of course, I can open the PDF file and I can take the decision I need. Notice that the decision here, let's say this one is exclude. If we take the reference ID of this article, go back to screening to search for it. Let's see. All right. So let's take another one. Include, let's take this. This is not the, it's not the one I'm copying. All right, let's see with Rayyan. So you can see this article, for example, is included in this case. If I change its decision in full text, let's say to exclude, it will not change that decision in the screening stage. So you can see it's still included. And this way, you are distinguishing between decisions from full text and screening. And of course, once you add your articles, just make sure to turn the blinding on again so that reviewers will be able to screen similarly as we've done in screening to full text. Once you are done with full text, you can turn off blinding, resolve conflicts, move to data extraction, add, for example, I'm going to add the included results from full text. Once added, turn on blinding again so that collaborators will be able to assist in that extraction. Before that extraction starts, you need to first define your questions. So as you can see, if I click to extract data, it will not allow me until I define my questions. So this is a simple example that the system will show you how you can add your questions. Most importantly, you need to create a group to group out questions. So for example, let's say study characteristics. And then the title is study design. Is it a CCT study? Just for example, I'm going to select the answer, which allows me either free text, which allows open-ended responses, letters, numbers, and special characters to be added as an answer, or numbers, which will only allow numeric data, meaning only numbers, or specified in which I can specify the answer. So let's say yes, no. And then I can mark the question as a required question for us to answer. If not, I can leave it blank, which is optional, and then add the question. Now I can add another question. Let's say now under the group population, I'm going to name it population as well. What is the target population? This is the question that needs to be answered. Free text required and add the question. Notice the question will be different in color depending on the group. So if I added another, let's say, question, let's say study design again, study sample size. What was the sample size studied? Free text required under studies characteristics. Oh, sorry. All right. So again, sample size. What is the sample size that was studied? Free text required under study characteristics and add that question. So I have now two questions under this group, study characteristics, in which I can at any time edit or delete that question. I can resort the ordering, of course, of these questions. And then once I'm done, I need to click on extract data, which will basically open the PDF file again in Rayyan. And based on the data you need, you can copy and paste. You can start answering the questions with finding the relevant information. You can add multiple answers if needed. Then once you are done, just click mark as completed if you have just completed this extraction. For this one, you can, for example, let's say I didn't complete the answer of each of the questions, so I can save the changes to complete it later. You can see now my answers, and I can export my answers in CSV. We will soon be introducing a way to export your answers and all of your results from Rayyan in a template of your choice. You can create that template, so stay tuned for this one. For now, exporting in, for example, data extraction allows you only the format of CSV. In full text and screening, it will allow you different formats like Roughman, RIST, BibTeX, and Note or CSV. And lastly, before we head to questions, I know we are a little above our time. Apologies for that, but we are able to create a Prisma diagram. Just to quickly go over it. Of course, Prisma, as I mentioned earlier, it's part of any paid plan. So you need a paid plan in order to access Prisma diagram. In order to access Prisma, once you, of course, you have that plan, you can click Prisma. It will open in a different tab. Sorry. It will open in a different tab like this one, showing you the Prisma diagram available. And of course, most of it is automatically populated the system will not distinguish between reasons used in different stages. So if you want to only include reasons used in full text, you can easily update these numbers and these reasons by following this format. So you need the reason, comma, the number of articles it was assigned to, and then semicolon if you are adding more reasons. So just for example, I'm gonna add a semicolon. Now start type my reason. Let's say wrong age, comma, 14 articles were assigned wrong age. Similarly, I can do with identification part to include the databases I obtained my references from. So I can go to main options under individual databases. I need to locate it and then switch it to included. This way I will find examples available, which I can change in order to match my actual results. I haven't obtained articles from adjusters, so I'm keeping it blank. Two databases were used to obtain the articles. Instead of this example, I'm going to add the actual results. So PubMed, I obtained 560. Web of Science, let's say I obtained 82. And we are going to remove the rest of the example so that it only shows me exactly what I need. Everything in Prisma is manually edited. However, make sure to always download your Prisma once you are done editing so that if you collapse Prisma diagram, it will no longer save your changes. So let me show now. Again, let's try to access Prisma. Let's share it again. And you can see all of my changes were gone. So just make sure that you download the Prisma diagram in one of the supported formats so you don't end up losing your work. Thank you all for joining today's session. It's been our pleasure, me and my colleague Vanessa, who's been answering your questions to provide you with all the whole introduction of Rayyan. Of course, this is not an advanced session, so we only showed you how you can actually use Rayyan in order to accelerate your reviewing progress. We will be soon providing more advanced webinar sessions dedicated to help you out with the best practices, workflows, and how to efficiently use Rayyan to its maximum potential. Thank you all for joining today's session. Apologies that we are above our time. If you have more questions, please feel free to drop them as a support request so you can access Get Help and then submit a support request. You can access Help Center, of course, before submitting the request. Maybe you find your answer in the Help Center. If you couldn't find it at any time, you can find also submitting a support request in our Help Center. Fill out that form, and one of our agents will be more than happy to assist you. Thank you again for all who joined today's session. I will again ensure that the recording will be sent to all registrants. So if you have missed anything, you can go back to that recording and view it again. Wishing you having a good day, good night, or good evening, depending where you are on the world. Thank you.